G'day, Sambo here. Well, here's my first solar system. This is just to run a 12 volt DC pressure pump, so it doesn't need to be real big. It's 100 watts. I just made up some framing out of steel for it, screwed it all together, screwed it down to the roof of the carport. Anyway, let's go below and we'll have a look at the setup I've got down there. Alright, so just under the carport here, I've put up some steel purlins here just to support all of this. I'll eventually have a wall going along behind here just to help protect this from the weather. I've got my charge controller, voltmeter, and some old car batteries that I picked up really cheap at the tip shop. The charge controller, that's a 20 amp MPPT charge controller, that's multi-point power tracking. Basically all it does is it just uses electronics to get the most power out of the solar panel. Cheapy eBay voltmeter, cost me about $5. It's just so that if I'm walking past or just want to check, I don't have to worry about hooking the multimeter up. I can just have a quick glance and know what the battery voltage is at. At this stage I don't have any circuit breakers or fuses between the solar panel and the charge controller. That will come. Alright, hooking up the solar charge controller is fairly easy. You've got two wires that come from the solar panel, one negative, one positive. This is a positive, just screws into the terminal at the bottom, the same as the negative. It's got the indications here, nice easy diagrams, solar panel, battery, load. So I've got a positive, goes to the battery terminal, positive terminal on the battery, and a negative terminal has a wire going from there up to the negative on the charge controller. And when I get the load sorted, very simple again, positive to the positive on the pump, negative to negative on the pump. So that's it. Now you can see there I got 13.1 volts there. These batteries were scrap when I bought them. I paid $5 each for them. They've been sitting under the carport for about 6 months and they were reading 12.5 volts last week, and then after a week of having the voltmeter hooked up they dropped down to 12.4 volts. So there's a better look at the batteries. I'll get around to hooking this one up one of these days. That's an old battery out of my car. Still holds about 12.4 volts at the moment. Just wasn't good enough to turn the car over. The car's a diesel, takes a fair bit of juice. So you can see one lead there, positive. There's a positive on this battery. Over here, negative to negative. Now with the batteries, if you hook them up in parallel, the voltage stays the same, but you add the amp hours. So these are car batteries, so they don't have an amp hour rating. But for example, if this one was 50 amp hours and this one was 50 amp hours, hook them up in parallel and you've got 100 amp hours of storage at 12 volts. But if you hook them up in series, which is positive to negative, then you double your voltage, but your amp hour stays the same. So if these were in series, I'd have, for example, 50 amp hours, but at 24 volts. So hopefully that's simple enough to understand. And down below the shelf where I've got the battery, I've got a circuit breaker there for the water pump. That's the water pump there. It's just a cheapie from eBay. Cost me $70 to get it delivered. That's good for 17 litres a minute. It's about 4.5 US gallons a minute, and at 40 psi. So I think that'll be good enough to keep the water up to the propane gas heater I've got. That's it. That's fairly basic. DC voltage. You only have to worry about positive and negative. Make sure you got everything hooked up right. It's good to go. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.